Hey guys, welcome back. Today we are going to continue, and I guess we're up to part 4 now, of our build on the Triple Canyon Klondike uh, Train Guy exclusive build. And today we're going to cover a little bit about the scenery and what I've done so far, and it's not complete. Okay, so don't let those white spots scare you. Uh, the blue tape is on. It's been, a little bit of over paint has gone on it, so that's coming off eventually. Probably within the next week or so. As soon as I wrap up all the scenery, uh, that part will be done. So, what I want to cover today is a little bit about what have I accomplished since our last video. Well, our last video, everything was still bare, and we had just put the signals in and left some room for eventual, maybe something else electronic put in. Um, so we can tap into either one of those two signals, the power coming from the track, and if we want to, upgrade to something else. I don't know what. I just left it available. So let's move on, and we'll talk a little bit about what I've done here. And I've used a couple of different methods. One I didn't turn out the way I hoped it would, and the other one was a reliable, tried and true, always worked for me type of thing. Uh, so the experimental part was the I used modeling clay. Okay, now I've seen other YouTube guys, and that was my inspiration more or less to try it. Um, I did it on one of my other modules, and it kind of worked and kind of didn't, but I decided to give it one more shot. And I think it has its place, just not on my railroad. Okay, so I'm just an old school guy who does the old, um, the plaster of Paris, the hydrocal, whatever medium you want to use as far as coverage goes. Um, so we'll go over both here. So let me just show you a little bit of a close up here. Okay, so this is an unfinished section, and I debated whether to finish it before I made this video or not, and I thought, well, you know what? Let me give you a little bit of a closer look at what it actually looks like when it's not completely covered with scenery as far as uh, painting and stuff goes. So the section down in the bottom part, okay, and let's see if I can get a little bit closer look. It's kind of hard to get. Okay, so the scenery part in the bottom, in between the two concrete supports there is the modeling clay, okay, and it's the same on the other side. And what I had done originally was I took a piece of paper, uh, basically this stuff. Okay, let me go here. Uh, this came out of, well, this is from Train World, and but most everybody nowadays, excuse me, I go cold, trying to get rid of. Wow, they uh, they ship stuff with this stuff now instead of the old plastic peanuts and other packing materials. It's cheaper for them and cheaper for us because it cuts down shipping costs. But this is great stuff if you want to make build out an area. Uh, so if you ever get something in the mail, save that stuff. Dude, that's perfect. But anyway, so I took a small crumpled up piece, put it down in between the pillars there, the concrete supports, and then took piece of, took a piece of the modeling clay, okay, rolled it out. Now, here may be in the issue, I don't know yet. If maybe you roll it out too thin, so I had a cracking issue, okay, and when I did the side walls of the, as you can kind of see it a little bit, the going up the sides there, I put some of that clay on there. Now I learned that you have to put glue down first. Well, I use white glue, obviously, the old Elmer's white glue, and put some glue down and drape the stuff on there, and it went on very nice. It's easy to model in there and all that, but as it dries out, now this was very fast drying, which was surprising to me because the last time I used it, it took days. But this was like in 24 hours, it was more or less solid. But I noticed a lot of cracking, okay, especially on the top layer. Let me see if I can switch back to. Yeah. Okay. So, like on the top there, you go behind that signal on either side. There is a layer underneath a very thin, rolled out clay, modeling clay. Okay, so I was able to shake that and then work it all together. And of course, like I said, put some white glue down first to hold it in place because I didn't want it flaking off. Well, in the overnight, and I did that in the early afternoon. Checked on it the next day, and I had massive cracks going through. Now, and in my mind, I thought, well, this might have been a good thing. As I did the riverbed the same way, with the modeling clay. But I just looked at it and I was like, I don't know if that's going to stay. And I got a little panicky. So I went and took spackling. Now, I'm sorry, I'm off camera for a second. I forgot I had to bring this over. My bad. So here's the stuff. Okay, I'm gonna put in front. Maybe it'll be better. There you go. So, so this is from Ace, obviously. So it's generic. Now, I'm not going to say that you buy any particular brand. You could buy Ace. Oh my God, there's like tons of different brands out there of spackling compound. I would recommend you just buy one that's cheap. Okay, I don't remember how much I paid for this. Probably for, let's see, how many ounces is this? This is a quart. Okay, so and that's really gonna go a ways. I mean, depending on what you're doing, it could go quite a ways. So when I saw that what was happening with the clay, I was like, well, I don't want to scrape this off. I want to salvage it as much as possible. So I went ahead and covered it. Took neat thing. I went and took just a regular old paintbrush. Now this is just one of those DG specials, Dollar General, in case you didn't know. So they're cheap, and if something would go sideways with it, in the can, get rid of it. But if you wash it out, immediately afterwards, you'll be fine. This stuff is very water soluble, and will break down, flush right out, no problem whatsoever. So I went and I did that. And also, if you need to, okay, I don't have it handy, but I bought this humongous, like a 10-inch wide scraper. Well, it's like one of these, I should say. It's like one of these, okay? But, excuse me, this is only like 3 inches wide, or 4 inches. I think it's 3. But but I imagine having something that's a 10-inch wide, okay, for spreading the spackling. Putty knife, okay. Now I have small ones. Obviously, this is a larger one, but I have like a little 1 inch or inch and a half, whatever it is, and I use that a lot. But you could just, like I said, scoop it out either with a spoon. Like I like to go with the old cheapo spoons, and something happens to this, throw it away. Not lost. But if you clean this off, this will actually last you a long time too. So, between that, I mean, look, you got to do stuff on the cheap, okay? So, I mean, these things, you can use them. And believe it or not, you'll get some decent results just using those things. As far as, and spreading and stuff like that. So you don't need to buy expensive stuff. I bought that because it does a wide area fast, okay? And I don't get a lot of lines. As far as, like if I did it with this little one, okay, I'm going to have to make 3 or 4 passes and then try to make it all even. If I want a level playing field like that, one big swipe, done. Okay. Or several, but you get the drift. Okay. So having a variety of these things handy is awesome. So anyway, let's get back to the let's see where we at. That one. Okay, so that's what that looks like unpainted. Okay. Now, like I said, when I'm done with this, I'm going to finish doing that. There's some touch-up work. Obviously, you see there's some. I painted probably 97% of the module here. There's some touch-up work that needs done. I'm going to go back in and everywhere there's a little white spot, and it happens. As much coverage as you think you got, you're going to have to come back and touch things up just to completely cover it so that it is done. Once I get that all done and it dries and I'm happy with it, the tape's coming off, baby, and that part is done. So then all it is adding scenic elements, uh, and that's what that's what else I got to do. So getting back to the other method, so we see the clay part, and at the very top you see what the spackling would look like. Okay, because I had to go across the top and seal over that stuff too. Now, what runs along the side there, uh, from the bridge going towards the rear, that is the plaster infused gauze. Okay, some call it what? I mean, it's a variety of names. Um, I buy stuff on some call it ortho tape. Like orthopedic tape, like you would use for making a cast on for your arm or a leg or whatever. Um, Others call plaster cloth. There's different, people. There's a different amount of people that make these things. Woodland Scenics, if you're going to just go with a name brand, okay, great. I go for cheap, and I buy in the bulk 4-pack of these little ones. They're like three. Now there's different sizes too. Um, so it all depends how big an area you want to do and how you want to manage it. Uh, I find it's easier for me to work small sections and just overlap them a little bit. So the stuff I buy is about 3 inches wide, some maybe four. I think those are three. And you just start at the bottom and you just layer on top, one on top of the other. So going across there, as you can see, it's a ridge that kind of comes out a little bit and goes down to excuse me, to the water line. And what I did is there's a piece of the paper again, uh, wider at the one end, and then it tapers back a little bit. I shoved it down in there, a little bit of scotch tape just to hold it in place temporarily. And then I started with the plaster cloth, and I went and, 3 or 4 layers of plaster cloth to go up, work it into the side of the canyon. And then it obviously tapers off to the back. Well, to get that little shoreline there, this is the neat trick. So I took the plaster cloth, I cut extra, cut it in strips about, uh, let's see, about 5, maybe 6 inches long, and, dip it in the water. And then I just scrunched it, okay? Instead of draping it, I scrunched it and just manipulate it along the edge there, and that builds up to a shoreline. So that's how you work that all together. And what I originally on the bottom there is that's the clay. Okay, the clay cracked, and I thought about it, and I was like, do I really want to keep that like looking like that, or do I want to make an actual river? So the river idea went out, and I went and took the good old spackling and my 10-inch wide blade, and I just put a swipe of probably off 3 or 4 swipes of the plastic or the spackling on there, and that smoothed out and it looked acceptable. Okay, so then you just go back and you paint the river. Now let me just show this a little bit. Okay, so we're gonna go and yeah, this is a little stiff. Okay, so let's see if I can get some light. Okay, so now the river. Let's talk a little bit about the river here. So with the river, you start in the middle, okay? And what I did, you got to figure a river is deepest usually in the middle, and then it kind of goes out to the shoreline, and it gets, less and less. So I'm going to come over this with my AK Interactive water, the gel, and it's gonna be a blue, so it's gonna take whatever colors underneath and kind of magnify that a little bit, but give it a blue tint. So your deepest water is usually in the middle. So if you think about it, it's really either a deep blue or darker color. Now this is obviously not a clean river, so instead of blue, or like the ocean ones that I've done before. So I want to make this a little bit like, okay, it's not the cleanest river, but it's something. It's water, and it's the movement is obviously from the front to back or back to front. I'm not sure how this is, but it's going this way. So all my paint strokes go from one end to the other, and then you blend in different colors as you go out. So like there's a blue black in the middle, and then it goes out to a dirty kind of, you know, brown on the edge line, on the edges of the river. I may add some rocks, real rocks, in there somewhere. I haven't decided yet. It depends on how this river turns out. We'll see. But that's about it as far as that goes. So let's bring this light back up and we'll switch back. That one. Okay. Okay, so in general, that's where we're at. I will be finishing this probably sometime either I'll be doing this week or next. I'm not sure. And then we'll be ready to move on to the final chapter. Yay! I know everybody's excited. Which will be adding the scenic elements. Now I will be. I don't want to give it away. because I want you to come back and I want you to see what the final result is going to look like. But I have a couple things that we're going to do. Um, I haven't, well, I have everything in place. I just need to finish doing this. And it's been kind of a crazy time, been a little bit busy. So I can't work on this every day and, come back and put out more videos. But I'm trying, we're getting as fast as we can. But this is what we are, where we are right now. And I hope you've enjoyed this, the build so far. Um, I think probably, hopefully this summer, I'd like to do. I was going to consider doing for this video, but I think what I'll probably do is as a separate video. I'm going to take some pieces of styrofoam that I have laying around here from old shipping uh, packages, and we're going to do like not a diorama, but like a demonstration of techniques for doing construction as far as doing your like a hillside or scenery in general. Uh, I think that's probably more appropriate, uh, other than me coming in and constantly, wow, here's how we're doing this, and it just makes for a super long video, which were probably super long anyway. Um, but that's it. So I hope you enjoyed this. Like I said, make sure you like, share, subscribe, and if you like the video, make sure you like it for us. And we'll catch you in the next one. Take care.